Hi everyone, this is Teresa Siderio, your Jersey Mama. I want to apologize first of all from last week. My iPad fell twice every time I went and did a video, so by the time I got to you in the middle of it, it was going out. Something was wrong with it, and here afterwards it just burnt out. So I do have a new iPad, so I welcome you again to my live cooking show. Once again, my name is Teresa Siderio and I am your Jersey Mama. And today I am going to make a keto-friendly low-carb meal, okay? Those of you who heard one of my other videos, I told you about a new product that I've been using, and I've had some great results. So I'm going to keep it that way because I still have 25 pounds to lose. So anyway, I wanted to share with you this recipe. So if anybody's that sees the comments coming across, then if that bothers you, just swipe it to the right, and then you'll be able to see me cooking without any of the comments. Now, I will also answer all your comments after, only because of the fact it's very hard for me to see. So I welcome everybody that's coming on now. And I'm hoping that you'll enjoy this. This is an easy one. It's, you know, it doesn't take long. It's just different types of fishes. So those of you who like Ciopinno, that's what we're having today. And I'm also making scuttle and beans, or what some people call it is escarole, but the Italians call it scuttle. Okay, so you'll probably hear me say a couple things. I'll try to repeat what it means in English, like basil means basil. So, you know, I'm going to keep it simple for a lot of this. Okay, so what I have here is my pan. This is a nice big one. I prefer, pan-wise, I usually prefer Circulon or Anilon, because they don't scratch, the bottoms don't scratch. They last a long time compared to some other ones. So I like that, because you don't need to have that if your here we go. If your other product is scraping the bottom, you need to throw it out. You don't need that. That's in your, cooking into your food. It's not healthy for you. So here I have some, I have my pan. I'm going to drizzle some olive oil. Total to date, guys, I've lost 14 pounds. And I've also, and then here's some butter. And I've lost about 3 inches. So I can actually take my shorts off. They could just fall right off. And these were my fat pants. These were, I wore these when I went to Florida last month, and I refused to go out and buy another pair, so this way I didn't have to, I didn't care if I looked like a stuffed sausage. I just was not going into a size 14. So I'm back into my 10s now. So now what you're going to do is, when you put the butter in there, it's just for flavor. I only use a half a stick of butter. I'm going to throw some onions in there. I chopped up a whole red onion, medium-sized onion. Now, those of you who know me know that I use my Ninja in order to chop up my garlic. Okay, and then I throw some olive oil in there, and this is good for about a week, guys. So if you're a cook, if you like to cook, you'll be able to use all of it. I'm going to be putting, and if you don't have a Ninja and you're going to be chopping, you're going to be putting about 3 cloves of garlic. Now, depending on what kind of burner you use, you don't want your garlic to burn because it's chopped, number one, but you don't want your onions, you want your onions to look translucent, okay? It doesn't take long to cook this. Just stir it. I used a whole head of parsley, freshly cut parsley. That's a little too much. Now, when I use seafood, I like to use sea salt. Okay? So you have the coarse and you have the chop. So of course I have the coarse. So you're not going to use as much as you normally would do. That's for sure. I would say if you're using a coarse, do a half a pinch. If you're using the fine coarse sea salt, then you only need to use a nice pinch. Okay. So we're going to add some wine. You're going to add about a half a cup of wine. You can use I like to use I don't like to use a sweet wine, so don't use a sweet wine because then the sauce comes out sweet. So I would use a Chardonnay is nice. Basically, that's what I use a lot of, actually, is a Chardonnay. Stir that around. Now, I used 1 can. You could do without this. You don't have to use a sauce to it because there are carbs in your tomato sauce. Now, this is it has no sugar in it. So, but it is a what did I use this time? Oh, I used the stewed tomatoes, and then I used it in my Ninja because I didn't want the chunks of tomatoes in this. I just wanted a light tomato flavor. So it's just 1 can. Where's my pepper? You know, these pepper grinders are nice, but you know, when they come to the end, it feels like it's flakes and it's not sharp enough. Now, I am going to use two jars of clam sauce, okay, or clam juice. There's Cento, there's Bumblebee, which this is what this is because it was on sale, and there's Rosa. It all depends on what you want. Now, if you really wanted to make a nice clam stock, you could have just chopped up your onions, your celery, and threw in the shells of the seafood, and then let that cook down and render down a little bit, and then you could have used that broth too. But I didn't do that. Now, I'm going to show you one thing. I'm going to let this cook for a while, but I'm going to explain to you, and those of you who have seen me cook before know that I use baking soda in my sauce. And the reason why I do that is number 1, it cuts out the acid, and number 2, I like to do it when the meat is in the sauce or when the fish is in the sauce on the stove cooking. Only because of the fact, okay, I'm sorry. Only because of the fact it adds the flavor. It takes out the acidity, but it also adds the flavor of whatever you have that's in that sauce. It goes into the sauce. So if you want a nice fish taste to your sauce, you can use that, especially when you make your crabs and spaghetti. People know that I love my crabs and spaghetti. Who's this? Who's on here? Let me just say hello to everyone. Thank you for coming on. And if my granddaughter's watching, Melania, Nona loves you. I hear sometimes from the babysitter. She says, that's my Nona. So they watch me. So anyway, once this sets up for a little bit, it's starting to boil. So you want it to boil. When you start it to boil, you're only going to use a little bit. You're only going to use this much. It's like a tip, the tip of your teaspoon. And don't be surprised if it bubbles up, because you want it to bubble up, because that's how you know that the acid is being taken out. Okay. Now I'm going to put the fish in here. You're going to want this to cook a little. Normally I would let that sit and cook for another 5 minutes to a rapid boil. But then it's not going to be done by the time I get done putting everything else in, because I want you to see the finished product, because fish cooks very, very fast. You don't have to worry about, having it in there a long time. So today I have mussels, and the mussels are my black mussels. I don't use the Prince Edward mussels because they just don't agree with my stomach. So when you get these, you have to scrub them. There's a little scrubber that you can get. Let me see what I did with it. Oh, not in here. I'll have to look and show you another time. But there's a little tiny little brush. It looks like a toothbrush. I got it at Bed Bath & Beyond. It's white, it's blue, has a blue top, and it has like the little scrubs. You need to clean these off. You just can't rinse them. You have to scrub them off. Now there's salt in these, and natural sea salt. And then you get this little beard that comes out, and then you just take that off. So you wash these real good in cold water. And then, and once you scrub them, you rinse them real good, and then you start layering them in, okay? So you're going to layer these at the bottom, because we're going to layer everything on top of them. I also got a few cherry stone clams. You could put little necks in here. I forget that I don't have to cook for, a family of 6 anymore. So these clams are a little too much for us. This is basil, fresh basil that I had. It's kind of all wilted now, but it was fresh. I cleaned it and everything. Put about 3 fresh basil in there. Okay, so today I decided to treat myself. What I did was I bought a lobster tail. I bought a small lobster tail, but I also bought shrimp, scallops, and codfish. You want a thick fish. So cod, it turns out really good in a sauce, and it's a nice thick fish. But what I did was I took the lobster out of the shell, but I want the shell in there because I want the flavor of the lobster, of the fish in here. And then you just take it out. I just don't like when my lobster is hot and I'm trying to dig to get the lobster out. Nothing bugs me more. Put your shrimp in. Let me just stir this up. Now you might need to put a little bit of water in here. Now you have to clean and devein your shrimp. And usually sometimes if you get that shrimp, at the end of the shrimp, and you pull out the skin, sometimes that vein in the center will come automatically out. If not, you have to cut it and clean it out. Because nobody likes that. It's like, I don't know, it's like gawk. Now there's also, I got the sea scallops, yeah, these are the sea scallops. Now there's a little piece of flesh that sometimes comes on the side of the scallop, and it's hard, and you'll be able to, you got to take that off. It's like a, I don't know, like a cartilage or a tendon, something that attaches to it, but it's very hard. You don't want that, you don't want to eat that, okay? So you just need to clean it off, and there's usually just one on the side. And you'll be able to tell the difference because the rest of the scallop is nice and soft, and that part is hard. Oh, blessed mother, this smells good already. Now I have some pieces of cod, and what I did was, it comes filleted real long, so what I did was I cut it in portions, okay? So you want something, you want a fish that's going to be thick, so this way it doesn't fall apart, okay? Because it doesn't take long to cook. Something else out of that later. Just want to give this a little stir. The mussels are starting to open up already in the clams. And on the top, I have lump crab meat. Yeah. And I'm going to sprinkle that on the top because when you buy the crab meat in the store, it's usually cooked. You can find it in a can. It's by Ocean Perch, I think it is. But you could find it where the seafood department is. Sometimes it comes in a can. Make sure you get the lump crab meat because if you get the back fin crab meat, what's going to happen is you can use that. Like if you wanted to make there's a recipe I could use for like a quick clams and spaghetti. Or not clams and spaghetti, crab, like a crab gravy. So, but I'm not doing that today. I just want the lump crab meat. So you take it out of the can, you rinse it really well, then you could put it on top, and then we're going to put the lid on it. Oh, this smells good. Really smells good. And it's a nice hearty dish. I mean, when you're making something like this for like a bunch of people, you know, of course I would use a bigger pot. However, I do have it, which I should have. Yeah, I should have did it. But, you know, I'm trying to learn to cook for two with a leftover. You know, cook for two with a leftover. But it's okay. I have enough here that my son, if he comes home, Frankie Provolone, if you're coming home tonight, he lives upstairs from me. I want this cod to get down into that gravy. Or that's the sauce, the tomato clam-based sauce. Okay. You're going to let that simmer for about 20 minutes. Okay, now it's been simmering, but altogether around 20 minutes. Okay, now in this pan over here, I love my greens. I have to have my greens. I was never a green person growing up. I was more like corn. I mean, what kid? All you ate was corn. When your mother put peas in front of you, string beans in front of you, we had to eat them when we were little. You know, you ate what was on your plate. At least taste it. I made my kids, and my kids, you know, they'll crucify me, my kids, because I made them eat peas one day, and my daughter got sick, and then I wouldn't let her go to the movie. But God forbid, you know, she'll crucify you the rest of my life. For the beans, or for the greens, What I did was I cut up a head of scuttle or escarole. Some places even, you could buy them in the store now too, that's in a bag. They've already, you know, done the cutting for you. You just have to clean it real good. When you buy a head of escarole, I'm not used to saying escarole, but when you buy a head of escarole, you really have to clean it good because there's dirt that, you know, it's like a lettuce. There's dirt all inside. So you rinse it real well. And what I usually do is I put it in a big metal pan, fill it with cold water, and then I dip it with the leaf portion down, not where you cut it from the ground. So this way the water seeps up in there and then makes the dirt go into the bottom of the pan. So in olive oil, you're going to saute about 2 cloves of garlic, you know, to a whole head. You don't want it to get real brown, so be careful when it's chopped or when you chop up your garlic. You don't want it to get nice and brown because it adds a different flavor. I like it when it's a little brown in another recipe. I enjoy that flavor of it because it's like a nuttier flavor. And it's a heartier flavor, more like, to me it reminds me more of a Tuscan flavor when you brown your garlic like that. This is, you're just going to let it saute. Now I'm using white beans or cannellini beans. You can, even though they're a form of protein, there's some carbohydrates in there. So you have to be careful of how many beans that you eat if you're on a low carb diet. Okay, I think I read that you're allowed no more in order to start losing weight, especially with your carbs. Anything white, just remember, anything white, don't put in your mouth. Okay, if it has flour in it, if it has sugar in it. You know, your pastas, your breads, I cut that completely out. But the beans, I believe it was, I let these cook. I boiled them. I bought the bag and I boiled them. So the carbohydrate is different compared to the one that you buy in the store. I don't know why, but that's what I did. I cooked them. I used about a cup and a half. There's like a cup and a half. I'm going to put some Himalayan salt. I love my Himalayan salt. Some fresh black pepper. Now what I did was, I'm going to let this saute for a little bit because in the pot, after I cut up the escarole, and I put it in little tiny chunks, okay, and I cut it with a knife. I put it in some water. I put it into about 2 inches of water, and then I covered it with some salt in there. And I only let it cook because you need to get that one part of the escarole where it's soft, okay? So this way it's easier. It's easier than the saute, because if not, you're just going to add water to it and then continue, you know, until it softens up. But it takes 3 to 5 minutes to soften it up in the pan. And then all you have to do is drain it, or just get a big spoon with holes in it, and then pour it directly into the pan with the cannellini beans. Oh my God, this is smelling awesome. Now, some people, if you wanted to add, you can make another meal out of this, the escarole and beans. If you wanted to add sausage, you could add sausage to it. You can add, around here, I don't know where everybody's from, but around here, And not too far, back where I used to live, which is about an hour away, there's so many places that sell different types of sausage. You can get sausage that is made with provolone cheese in it, broccoli rabe in it. There's all different ways that you can add to this meal. I used to make it for my father. My father loved it. I made it with sausage, regular Italian sausage, and cannellini beans, the escarole, and then I bought the orecchiette pasta. I remember when I was a little girl, my grandmother, every Sunday, she used to make the pasta on the table. I used to come down, and they would, you know, my grandfather would be eating breakfast, and she was on the other table rolling out the orecchiette, but she used to put them over her, we called them little hats. She used to roll it out, get a knife and flatten it, and then roll it over her thumb, so it looked like a little hat. So we used to call it little hats. As I got older, I was in the store and I was like, oh my God, little hats. They have little hats, but you know, they're called orecchiette. And I just think this is more, with the pasta and everything, is more of a traditional Italian dish. I'm going to add a little bit of Himalayan salt on top of that. You don't have to let it cook long because once again, it is, oh man guys, this is like banging over here. Jeez, so, oh my on, can I get a blessed mother? Oh, blessed mother, does this smell good? Jeez, so. So excited about it. I love to eat. Okay, so once this is cooked, it doesn't take long. Mix it around. You put your salt, your pepper. Then you throw some locatelli cheese. Okay, this is what they bought. You could get into supermarkets. So if you're going to look, oh, see, wait a minute, hold on. Can you tell there? Okay, Black Bear. It's locatelli pecorino romano cheese. It's already shredded. Unless you prefer to use the kind that you have, where you can shred it yourself. I decided I choose this. This I go through a lot, and I'm not going to sit there and do it all, just too much time. Here, let me get a spoon. You can sprinkle as much as you want. If you love cheese, that's great. I don't, I put a little in. The taste is unbelievable. The flavor just, oh God, it's just so darn good. Okay. So, I want you to see what the cannellini beans and the escarole look like. This is just so darn good. Okay. My phone keeps going off. Is someone trying to tell me something? Oh, it looks nice. Okay. Okay. So, I got a towel on the floor because I was afraid that this would fall. It would fall on my tile in the house. Okay. So you see the beans. You see the escarole. So you want it to be loose like this. You want it to be soft because that's the way you eat it. It's unbelievable. Look. Dear God, blessed mother. It's so good. I'm sorry, folks. I know. I always eat. But you know what? I have to taste it to see if it's poison. Right? Okay. Where's the lid for that? All right. Turn that off. And you know what's nice too? because as these mussels open up and you're stirring it, the lump crab meat gets caught with the mussel. Yep. That's the shrimp. That's the clam. Then you get the broth. And you pour it on top. Just pour it on top. Now, feel free to share this video. I will be putting it up on my Facebook page or on my YouTube page. So those of you who would like to see my other videos, go to Teresa Siderio on YouTube and take a look at subscribe to it. So this way, if you miss one of my videos, you can always catch it on YouTube because you'll get a notification that it was, you know, that, oh my God, that I uploaded one. I'm going to burn my mouth. I know I am, right? Feel free to share this video. Tag your friends. I know, right? Hold on, hold on. That stewed tomatoes really adds a nice flavor to it. I mean, it's not a lot in carbohydrates because you're just cooking it in there, but it adds a flavor. It's not like eating like a whole tomato, because I did use my my Ninja to pulverize it, so I didn't have to use the chunks. This is the cod. I'm right here. This is the lump crab meat in with the mussel and the juice. Okay, everyone. I want to thank you for coming to my kitchen. I would like for everyone to try this dish. It's very, very good. Be kind to one another, and I'll catch you on the next one. And those of you who have bought the new Keto Gen 4 product, I will be putting you into our Facebook group page that I have started specifically for this diet. So you will be able to catch more recipes for you to do, for you to cook, as well as some of my cooking live videos will be put over there as well. So everyone, have a great night and take care. Be kind to one another.